FM Talk 1065, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority. The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
They're gonna pry these guns right out of my hands when they come to take them away. I believe in the rights that my fathers gave me when he signed the Constitution that day. No misguided president or crooked politician with a greasy pocket be spared. When the hard-working man gets tired of your cry, it's gonna rain wrath, beware. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. You're not gonna take it away. I stand up to fight for my freedoms and rights. That's a price you'll have to pay. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. Red-blooded to the core. You ain't ever had a fight in your life like the fight that you're itching for.
All right, welcome to Armed Alabama. Glad you could join us tonight. We've got a good show for you. We are broadcasting, of course, on FM Talk 1065, but we are also simulcasting on Facebook tonight. The judge was unable to be with us, and so we're not able to broadcast on YouTube as we've been trying to do here lately. So we are on Facebook Live tonight. So if you want to tune in to our Facebook page, and you can see us live here in the studio. And our Facebook page is Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 1065. Please like, save, and follow while you're there. And that way you'll be notified each time that we post something or come with live content. We are not on YouTube tonight as normal, but we will try to get this show kicked over to our YouTube channel, Armed Alabama. But of course, you can always listen to us here at FM Talk 1065.
Does this mean that since it's Facebook, our callers have to be politically correct at all times?
No.
Oh,
because
okay.
we don't want to be politically correct at all times.
Not too correct, anyway.
Yeah. So joining me in the studio tonight, since the judge is not going to be here, or was not able to be here, joining him in the studio is Glenn Ramos. Glad you could join us. And Glenn is going to be here talking about Antifa. Of course, this is Armed Alabama, and as always, we talk about your self-defense, firearm and ammo selection, home protection, concealed carry, personal protection, training, proper range etiquette, and of course, Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida law, and federal law, because as you may know, we are heard across the Gulf Coast, not just here in Mobile and Baldwin County, but we have a lot of people that listen and call in and text from Mississippi and Florida, including Cantonment and Pensacola. So if you're joining us tonight, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you and appreciate you listening to our show. As I stated earlier, we are also simulcasting on our Facebook page, Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 1065. And give us a shout while you're there. And I can see from Facebook Live there, we're getting a lot of comments already. So thank you for joining in. And also, you can text to the station here at 251-343-0106. You can comment on Facebook, or you can send us a text here to the studio, 251-343-0106, and you can call as well. So if you have a comment or a question for us here in the studio, for myself or for Glenn Ramos that's joining us tonight, please, by all means, give us a call and give us a text. You don't know how much you can influence the show just by sending in a good question to our text line, or, of course, through Facebook. And, of course, Glenn, you're joining us tonight, and you and I have been talking for the last 2 or 3 days on Antifa. and just the craziness that is happening in Portland. And there are rumors that Antifa may go to Washington, D.C. for a freedom rally or freedom of speech rally this weekend. And you've been following those stories and the attacks, not only that Antifa has been making on conservative individuals or conservative pundits, but also just regular journalists that may have been there with a flag. There was one journalist that was attacked that was carrying an American flag.
Yeah, that's correct, Adam. Actually, right now I'm seething right now, seething. And the reason why I say that is because Antifa is the bane of our existence. This past weekend, there was a rally in, of course, Portland, Oregon. This is like the home base of Antifa. And it was the Proud Boys. They had factions of the Proud Boys and also factions of Antifa there. During the process of this rally here, there was an individual. This guy, his name is Andy. I'm going to butcher his last name. I do apologize for this, but his last name is Vietnamese. It's NGO. I think it's pronounced N. Andy N. Now, this guy he leans to the right. He's a conservative journalist. He's Asian, but he's also he's gay. And that does an issue, but the fact of the matter is, you have a gay Asian journalist, and he's a contributor for Quillette, and he was attacked on video by Antifa last Saturday, June 29th. He was punched, he was kicked, and doused with, quote-unquote, a milkshake. Now, the definition of milkshake in this case is not Steak and Shake. It's not McDonald's milkshakes, okay? This milkshake is actually a concoction of quick drying concrete that's put into a cup and thrown at individuals.
Yeah, with that concrete, I mean, it causes skin irritation. If it gets in your eyes, it can really cause irritation within your eyes.
Exactly. And when you look at this video, at the aftermath, the guy unfortunately had damage to his eye. He had a laceration on his eyelid. His eye was puffy. There was, of course, dried cement all over his face and clothes. And the guy was obviously retreating, and like a pack of wolves, Antifa was still trying to hit this guy and tell him to get out of here. But, Antifa's, their whole modus operandi is to squelch free speech. They don't like free speech. They hate the First Amendment. Why? Because they don't have the ability to argue, to reason, all right, with us. So their only avenue for expression is violence. And this is why I am seething right now.
Hey, Glenn, where was the Portland police? Because that was another issue.
They were there. They were onlookers and spectators, basically.
Hey, essentially right. Hey, here's a little interesting tidbit, which we will get over on the other side of the break. But guess what? I found out. The mayor of Portland, Ted Wheeler,
yeah.
Guess what? Is also the police commissioner. Get that. The same man has two jobs. He serves as the mayor and police commissioner. So guess what happens now? He's the police commissioner. He has the power to tell the Portland police, you will stand down and you will give Antifa free rein. How do we know this? Well, guess what? The Portland police came out with a statement today. They said, and this is a part of the segment of this conversation for the Portland police, the representative for the Portland police said, the mayor, our police commissioner, is now allowed to use the rank and file officers of the Portland Police Bureau as a shield to deflect Portland's negative press nationwide. As we have said before, and will continue to say, police officers work to uphold the Constitution, including the right to free speech. It's our job to ensure that our community can peacefully protest without fear of violence. That was today. So it seems like Portland police, they're starting to push back our commissar, Ted Wheeler.
Unbelievable. So was you able to confirm that we needed a place there stating that he was the mayor and the police commissioner?
Yeah, it's very hard to find this information because when you go to Google, of course, Google is with their algorithms, their AI, they're able to mass information on the web. But yeah, it's confirmed that the mayor, Ted Wheeler serves as the mayor and police commissioner, both.
All right, we'll be back with more Armed Alabama after this break with Glenn Ramos.
Back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I'm looking for Josie Wales.
Let's get fired up.
You're wanted, Wales. I got it right talking to her. You a bounty hunter? Man's got to do something for a living these days. Diane ain't much of a living for.
I love that. I love that. Dying ain't much of a living, boy. Favorite.
Little play on words.
Yeah, absolutely, his favorite. So, all right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. So, if you're joining us on Facebook Live, you've seen a whole other conversation that we had during the break. So, definitely, if you have an opportunity, join us on Facebook Live tonight, and we are on, of course, on our Facebook page, and that's Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5, and check us out on Facebook. Shoot us a comment there or even a question. And if you have a question here for the studio, for us in the studio, you can give us a call or you can text. And that number is 251-343-0106. And we have joining us in the studio is Glenn Ramos. And pretty much tonight's show is going to talk about Antifa. And Antifa is anti-fascist is what it means. But it's actually become more than that. It's really become anti-conservative or even anti-American. As Glenn, you and I talked about an individual that was on the news that used to be a member of Antifa, and he was talking about that these people are the members itself. When he was a part of it, were socialists, and they were anarchists. And as he began asking questions to members of the group and trying to have a dialogue with members of the group about what they were doing, why they were doing it, and what their politics were, he was basically told to get on and get out of the group.
That's right.
And so it led him down the path to do a lot more information. And he was on Fox News today, and I was trying to find his name. I don't know if you have it.
Yeah, I do. The name is Gabriel Nadales.
Yeah. And so he was on Fox News, and he was really basically calling out this group for exactly what they are. And, of course, in my mind, they are a terrorist organization. Now, they're not labeled a terrorist organization, but they should be.
That's right. Yeah, according to Section 802 of the USA Patriot Act, it expanded the definition of terrorism to include persons engaged in acts that endangers human life. Okay? 802 also continues to say...
This is U.S. Code?
This is Section 802 of the U.S. Patriot Act. That's correct. It continues to say that if the act appears to be intended to, 1, intimidate or coerce a civilian population, 2, influence the policy of government by intimidation or coercion, and or the key word here is or, 3, to affect the conduct of government by mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping. Now, we can safely say that Antifa has not done points 2 and 3 yet. But certainly, based upon this definition, they are certainly violating point number 1, intimidate or coerce a civilian population. And we saw an example already with Andy Nuh. We also seen other examples. There was recently, unfortunately, I don't know the name of the individual, but there's a video out there with an elderly man. He's about 70 years old, and he's out being pelted by members of Antifa. They're like a pack of wolves attacking this guy. Another Good Samaritan comes in the way, a bald-headed man, and he gets pelted on the head with a crowbar. Okay, a crowbar right across the back of his skull. Leaves a big gash on the back of his skull that leads to 25 stitches in the hospital.
Clearly an illegal act.
Exactly.
Well, the thing about it
That's
is,
pure assault.
from a legal standpoint, that's an instrument that can do grave bodily harm or even death.
Attempted murder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and these are not the only weapons that they use. Now, before we go into that, I want your listening audience to understand where Antifa comes from. What's their principle? Okay, what's their tactics? And Antifa borrows from the principle or tactic of black bloc. Black bloc being spelled B-L-O-C, kind of like Soviet bloc. Okay, but black bloc is a tactic used by groups like Antifa who wear black clothing, scarves, ski masks, or goggles, motorcycle helmets, or some variant of that. I've seen baseball helmets. I've seen football helmets. Any kind of head protection, right? Or some kind of body padding. Now, what does that tell you? They're not there to debate. They're not there to argue with you or reason with you. They're there specifically for violence if they have to. Violence, plain and simple. So, that's their power. Their power resides in the fact that they have this face-concealing garments or items that they wear, so you can't identify them if they do get violent. Yeah, there's no way you can identify them. They wear a scarf across their face. They wear goggles. There's no way to identify them. That's their power, and that's why they're so successful. Plus the fact that they have a kitchen pass, a green light from Commissar Ted Wheeler.
Yeah, who's the mayor and quote unquote acting police commissioner.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I want to ask you guys a question on that note, because you know, and I know people who either live on the West Coast or grew up there. One of my best friends grew up in San Francisco. So all of the people on the West Coast are not whack jobs, but how do these crazy off-the-chart politicians get elected and then continue to hold office? Are they just stealing the election, or people just don't care who's running the show?
I think that the simple answer, I think people are just ignorant. And I went to my wife and I and my son this past weekend, we went to a plantation tour in Louisiana. The tour guide was exceptional. He was incredible. He should be a professor, really. And the number one thing he said is that the way that government controls the people is through ignorance, spreading ignorance. And that's what ends up happening. These politicians, like a Maxine Waters or AOC, how they get elected.
But it's not just that. It's the media itself is carrying the water for these individuals.
Right.
And going back to Antifa, you and I discussed there were several CNN pundits and some other left-wing media pundits that were carrying the water for Antifa. They were talking about, well, it's a necessary group providing a necessary discourse or to be able to fight for whatever they believe in, which is, anti-fascism.
I love when these people call themselves journalists.
Yeah,
because they're far from it.
Quote unquote
Propagandists.
They also, and some of these journalists classify Antifa as quote unquote freedom fighters.
Yep.
Freedom fighters. I've heard that.
What freedom fighters? We got all the freedom. We need to be fighting to save our freedom.
Yeah, and to your point, Charlie, the KKK. The Antifa is nothing more than the Weatherground version 2.0. They're the new brown shirts. They are the 21st century KKK. But the thing about it is, they really are. They are the KKK.
Who is funding this organization? And it's not just Antifa. It's Black Lives Matter. It's
and who's funding them?
The other left-wing organizations, And of course, there's been dotted lines and where you follow the money, and some of that's been pointing to what you and I refer to as Palpatine.
That's right, Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
And what is that?
Soros. That's right, George Soros.
George Soros.
Yeah, but he can't be doing all of it. I mean,
the Sith Lord.
There are other people fighting all this stuff.
The neat thing, if you want to call it neat, about George Soros is that he doesn't do it on his own. He does it through his NGOs, his non-governmental organizations.
Yeah, and he's got a bunch of them.
He's got a bunch
all over the world.
He's got a bunch of think tanks. He has a bunch of leadership institutes.
But if you or I paid somebody to go out and commit a crime like assaulting somebody who is an innocent person, we'd go to jail.
Absolutely.
We'd be guilty of a crime just as much as the person doing the assault.
But see, that's the great thing about George Soros. I shouldn't say great thing, but he's smart.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not getting his hands dirty. Other people are doing the dirty work for him. This guy's like a James Bond villain, honestly.
That's exactly Blowfield.
Need to have his citizenship revoked and exile him.
But the thing about it is through his organizations and through his political influence, i.e. money, when he gets involved in campaigns, now he's pushing down to very local levels of government, and he's going after these DA races.
Yes.
He is putting big money, his organizations are putting big money into district attorney races.
That's right, he is.
And so he can control, and then also state races, Secretary of States who have the controlling authority over elections within each state.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, if you're listening to us from Washington, Oregon, or California on our streaming network or on
Facebook, probably are.
Then you've got our sympathies. I'm sorry you got the folks that you've elected, or somebody elected.
Well, no, you made a key statement there. You elected.
That's right.
You elected. And so many people say, well, I'm not going to get involved in that process because each side is both criminals.
That's right. What did Thomas Jefferson say? The government you elect is the government you deserve. All right?
And you all have seen Maxine Waters' mansion outside of her congressional
exactly right.
How can you live outside your district?
Yeah, I love her.
How can you get elected if you don't live in the district?
I'm invited over for Thanksgiving this year.
She's got a lot to be thankful for.
She sure does.
All right, we'll be back after this break with more Armed Alabama. And if you're watching this on a Facebook Live, stay tuned because we're still going to be talking to you in the break.
And, if you're not fired up yet, we have a phone line available for you.
Yes, please give us a call at 251-343-0106. All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. Glad you could join us and hang with us through the break. Of course, we are simulcasting on Facebook Live on our Facebook page. You can go to Armed Alabama, FM Talk 106.5, and like us there on Facebook. And, of course, you can join in and join the conversation. We've got a lot of good comments here. And, of course, if you want to text us here at the studio, you can text to 251-343-0106, and you can call to that same number. So had a phone call tonight, so if you've got a good comment for us or a good question, by all means, give us a call. So, Glenn, everybody must be listening to the show tonight and listen to what you have to say. And, of course, tonight's discussion is Antifa and basically a terrorist organization, although they're not officially named as a terrorist organization, but they do fit the qualifications.
According to Section 802, that's right, that's correct.
802 of the Code of USA Code.
Yeah, that's right, Patriot Act.
You know, when I see these scenes on television, like the Portland thing, I can't believe that's in America. I mean, how did we get to this point?
Yeah, because the elites...
People who obviously hate the freedom this country offers are funding these people and encouraging them and reporting on them favorably.
Well, that's the interesting thing. Is what's their famous quote or their famous rally cry? They'd say, "No Trump, no wall, no USA at all." That's their mantra.
Wow.
Think about what they're saying there.
Yeah. Be careful who you send contributions to.
Well, that goes back to what Gabriel was saying earlier, that they are socialists and they are anarchists. That's an anarchist statement.
That's right. Exactly.
All right, we have a caller on the line, and Chris is calling from Mobile. Welcome to Armed Alabama, Chris.
Thank you. I was calling. I was the person in the Facebook Live chat.
Yes, absolutely. Right, and you stated that you were there. Was it Seattle or was it for May Day 2016? Okay, New Orleans, I'm sorry.
Wow, that's next door.
What did you take away from that?
Well, what had happened, I'll give you some area Confederate monuments there. And several people showed up, in silent protest around the monument, just to watch out for them and voice their opinion. And a large truck showed up with several hundred people that surrounded myself and about half a dozen others and started attacking. All day long, they had been throwing hot eggs at us and basically and threatened to shoot at people, pulled guns on people there. Very, very violent.
And where was this? Was this at one of the monuments?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay.
So, Chris, what group do you represent? Oh, Chris, what group did you represent there, or are you just an individual?
I was there protesting them wanting to take down the monument.
Okay, understood. Okay. So you said they were threatening to use guns?
Absolutely. They actually pulled a gun on one of the guys that was there.
Wow. I see, and when you look online, and this is, Chris, we'll get back to your point here in a minute here. The common weapons used by Antifa, in addition to milkshakes, they'll use crowbars, they'll use padlocks tucked into socks, they'll use collapsible batons, they'll use bear repellent, they'll use mace paper spray, they'll use baseball bats. But I've never heard... What's that? Wow. That's crazy. Okay, so Antifa's coming out here. They're attacking conservative groups here in New Orleans. Where in the world is the police?
My understanding, according to my understanding is they were told to stand down. They showed up in such large numbers that even if the police had wanted to control them, there's nothing they'd have been able to do. They'd have had to bring the entire police force down there in order to do anything.
Or the National Guard.
About how many people were down there, Chris? Ballpark.
I'd say 200 to 300.
Wow. I didn't realize New Orleans had such a large Antifa organization like that.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Christopher said
I
that.
don't believe the woman had them all. I believe many of them came in.
Yeah,
They were paid for and trucked in.
Yeah, that's what Chris has stated, that they were bussed in.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, that goes back to what we were saying, that there's money behind the organization.
Yeah.
Who's providing that money? And to get these individuals, as Chris stated, they showed up in butts.
So what ended up happening in the end? What was the resolution? What was the outcome? What ended up happening?
We found young men to get to the Confederate supporters and that supported us out. And people eventually ended up leaving. They ended up putting barricades around the monument before everybody knows they later removed.
Wow.
What did they do with the monuments, do you know?
They're still in storage.
You know, that's just so stupid.
The
there's no other way to describe it.
Yeah,
Is that a technical term?
Yeah, stupid,
Amazing.
stupid.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you for your insight there and telling us what had took place. Appreciate it.
Just one other side note.
Yes, sir.
I had also mentioned how they came and showed up at Auburn, and I believe it was last year or the year before, and they were ordered to remove their masks. There's an Alabama law that says you can't be masked in public.
Yeah.
In order to do that, and I think that has helped keep protests from happening in this.
That's a good point, Chris. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you calling in to Armed Alabama.
Stay
Oh, you
safe,
too,
man.
sir. Interesting. That was an interesting perspective.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize that Antifa also had the, not the capacity, but the intent to actually use guns too as well, which is kind of ironic in many ways.
So one of the other things that is in the news is AOC, of course, is accusing the Border Patrol of making the illegal immigrants drink toilet water.
Out of the toilets.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And she, you know, and they had a briefing for the congressional, because there were other Congress people there.
Of course.
And she skipped the briefing and just went right on in, and then came out with her hysterical tale.
And she also accused of the Border Patrol members of plotting to kill her or threatening her life. Excuse me, I think that was the term. Let me get that right.
Did she also say that she was also sexually assaulted? Yeah,
she said that the agents were making threats on her life in social media.
Oh, golly. But again, the government you elect is the government you deserve. So.
Oh, you gotta love her.
Yeah, I mean, she's
Whenever we don't have anything to talk about, or we're running slim, all we gotta do is just bring up AOC. You know.
Well, her long-established Democrat incumbent took the re-election for granted. Made no effort really to get reelected. He'd been there so long. He was number 2 behind Pelosi. I can't remember his name. And the Republicans put up nobody to speak of. And it looks like that's probably going to happen again, so we may be stuck with her for a while.
Well, it looks like maybe 2028, a possible presidential run by AOC, maybe? Because I think she'll be...
I'm sure if not, then she will definitely be a vice president pick. Yeah. And I think you and I discussed that, and you did some research and found out she is too young to be a... Because I thought maybe like Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, may pick her as a potential vice president candidate.
I believe in the year 2024, she'll technically be...
42, is that it?
No, it's 35.
No. Yeah, for vice president, yeah.
For president, it's 35.
Yeah.
And she'll be 35 in October of 2024, I believe. Yeah. I think she's October born.
October. Yeah, because I think the thing goes from what goes for the president goes for the vice president.
Yeah,
I believe so,
They have to because they're only a heartbeat away.
So, yeah, she's definitely a potential presidential
Is that an
candidate
endorsement, Adam?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm just making a prediction.
Oh, I see.
Well, I mean, she gets such a pass by the media. I mean, no matter what dumb statements she makes, she continues to get a pass and a pass because, you know, she's branded as being this cute little girl. She has this cute little girl voice, and, you know, even though she says dumb things, people say, well, you know, it's AOC. Who cares? You know, it's okay. You know, but we have to kind of hold her down and say, look, you know, you have to do your job as a congressperson. Do your job.
I think that's the last thing on her mind.
So,
of course, going back to what AOC stated, she was saying that she was accusing agents of making threats to her life on social media, and that social media, I think, was Facebook. And I think she was referring to a secret Border Patrol Facebook group. Secret. How can it be secret on Facebook? But the press stated it was secret. And the Facebook group is I'm 1015. And on there, supposedly there's been an ongoing investigation. It didn't say who the investigation was by, but I'm sure it was probably some journalist or a group. Stating that they have uncovered hundreds of active duty and retired law enforcement officers who moved on so-called extremist Facebook circles. So anyway, we'll talk about this and more when we come back from the break with more Armed Alabama. We've got a couple of texts and we'll answer those when we get back. So stay tuned.
Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 3.
Can I get past you? I need to step out when you get going.
I like you, Philip.
Or maybe I don't.
But be assured, bite my hand, and I will put you down.
Mics are hot.
Your division is in charge of native crime. Or would you rather I was in charge of native crime? I don't think you'd like my methods.
All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. We're in the last stretch here, in the last section. So,
apologies to anybody listening on Facebook during the break. If we offended your sensitivities.
Yeah, no doubt. Charlie.
Yeah. No,
So if you're just now joining us, we are simulcasting on our Facebook page as well, and that's Armed Alabama FM Talk 1065. And please go there, and you can join in the conversation. And please like, save, and follow while you're there. We normally have been broadcasting lately, simulcasting lately on YouTube. So you can go to our YouTube channel, Armed Alabama. You can see some of our previous shows. And speaking of previous shows, you can go to our website, and that is armedalabama.com. And we have all of our previous shows there in podcasts, and you can listen to those at your heart's content. Several people have told me that they listen to our previous shows at work, so that's kind of neat. And you can go to the FM Talk website, and you can listen to the podcast there as well. So lots of different ways to hear us here on Armed Alabama, and we thank you for tuning in. If you missed some of the earlier segments of the show, we were talking about Antifa, which is by all accounts a terrorist organization. However, they haven't been officially labeled as a terrorist organization, but they definitely meet the criteria. Also, joining us in the studio is Glenn Ramos, and he has been joining me, and we've been discussing Antifa as well, and of course, AOC drinking toilet water.
I think that's her campaign slogan for next election.
No, AOC was accusing the Border Patrol of making the illegal immigrants drink toilet water.
Undocumented migrants, please.
No. Illegal immigrants. They're illegal because they broke the law.
That's right.
They're aliens, and maybe if we could have some aliens come to Earth and straighten all this mess out, maybe we'd be better off.
You know, that's a different show. So while you're on here, Glenn is the king of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
The king.
It's my hobby.
So we have to have you back. We did that one show. We did a show on conspiracy theories.
We need a 2-hour show for that.
Yeah. We need to have you back and talk about conspiracy.
Are you saying that all the political activity in the world isn't super transparent and we can all see what's going on?
Yeah.
And there's no underground connections or?
No,
we already talked about a connection. Is Emperor Palpatine is pulling the strings.
Yeah.
Well, don't get me started on that one. Rothschild. I'm kidding. What?
So next item on our list, Glenn, and we hadn't had a chance really to go over this too much. The 2020 census will not have the citizenship question as the Trump administration drops the effort.
Yeah, I think I read a little bit about this, but this was definitely a loss for Trump, unfortunately.
Well, I thought about that, and I'm like, well, you know, I got to think about it. With everything going on, I think you have to pick your battles. And maybe this one right here, the Trump administration said, you know what, we have to pick our battles.
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong here. Doesn't the census, and again, I've kind of forgotten some of my civics from high school here, but in the census, doesn't the census help determine the number of representatives you have in the House of Representatives? Doesn't that determine the
but the census itself is a census of citizens.
Yeah, but there, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's
they count also all the illegal immigrants too as well.
There's lots. There is lots and lots of.
I think that was a point here.
Lots and lots of data, lots and lots of metrics. Utilize the census data, whatever is derived from that, whether it's districts drawn or monies to schools or whatever. There's lots of information that is metrics that are derived from census data. But it's a good point. It's something that we need to look at.
That's right.
And maybe discuss in the future.
For the show, that's right.
Yeah.
Because this can also, if they're also trying to count the illegal immigrants here
We're off the air.
What happened?
Keep talking, though. You talk to your Facebook crowd. I don't know.
Okay, well, for whatever reason, we're having problems in the studio.
Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, that's what it was.
He used the Force.
So if you're joining us on Facebook Live, we just went down on FM Talk 1065. The actual station broadcast went down. So
it was the FCC, Adam. They came after us.
No, it's you, man. is you. I mean,
Yeah.
as soon as I say Glenn Ramos,
Yeah. Hey, wait.
the algorithms kicked in.
Yeah.
Deep state,
Yes, right.
come on. they're
Satellites
like-
are
they-
over us right
yeah,
now.
all the satellites linked
Localized
up,
EMP.
and then they.
Here's what localized EMP right here at the station right now. Oh, we're still out.
Yeah, we're still out.
Man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, we want to thank all you guys for tuning in to the show tonight, even though we lost
Our feed.
our feed to the radio, but
Yeah.
we want to thank you
Odd.
for joining in on Facebook Live. We had a question that came into the text line that Glenn and I did get a chance to answer. So, in the interest of the show, we'll go ahead and answer it now. So, we have a text from John on the text line, and John asks, "What is Antifa's goal?"
And the ultimate goal is subversion.
Absolutely.
Subversion. That's the simple answer.
Well, as you heard earlier tonight,
You got to be on the microphone.
oh, we're back on the air.
No.
Oh, so as you heard earlier tonight, we were talking about a former member of Antifa, and he said that Antifa was made up of socialists and anarchists. So the answer to John's question is, what is Antifa's goal? Is subversion.
That's right. No Trump, no wall, no USA at all. That says it all right there. Pretty much in a nutshell, that's what they want. In fact, let me go a little bit further here. In one of the videos in which an independent journalist witnessed that elderly man being attacked by Antifa, you could hear in the background a woman's voice saying, "We attack first. We attack first." I have to assume it was a member of Antifa. So that tells you right there what the intent of this organization is to be proactive in violence in order to squelch free speech. That's their entire intent. Using intimidation, using cyberbullying, using violence.
Yeah, but it's more than just free speech, Glenn. It's free conservative speech.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
You know, and as the
speech is counter to theirs. Speech is counter to theirs.
As the former Antifa member has stated, that is any speech contrary to what their views are,
That's right. Yeah.
and they use all means necessary
To squelch it.
to squash it, whether it be through intimidation or, as some we've seen, use of force.
That's right. One last point. Something I forgot here, if I may, Adam. This Saturday, July 6th, there's going to be a free speech rally. I think we mentioned it at the beginning of the show. A free speech rally in D.C. on July 6th. This is a response to increased violence from Antifa in Portland, Oregon, and other cities. Now, the people there will be members of the Proud Boys and their allies at the free speech rally. Now, Antifa has promised, they have pledged that they will use acid attacks on Proud Boy members. This was also during the Fox News interview with Gabriel Nadales. They mentioned that. Now, if the FBI has this knowledge, shouldn't they be doing something about this? It's left to be seen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what happened, or what's going to happen. So we'll have to watch the
see
news
what happens.
and see what happens
Yeah.
at this protest, or excuse me, free speech rally,
Free speech rally.
within D.C., and maybe a protest breakout. All right, well, sorry for the interruption in broadcast tonight. Again, we were also simulcasting on our Facebook page, FM Talk 1065. Please like, save, and follow while you're there. And we'll see you next week for more Armed Alabama.